Yo, yo, yo. What is up? I'm Kuma Akemi. This is not my regular setup, but my phone charger's just like hanging out over there. I am dog sitting currently and not in my regular spot, but I wanted to talk about the last few arcs, and I didn't want to waste time, but at the same time I couldn't get everything set up like I regularly do. I've just had a lot of stuff going on today, and I've been on call sort of with family, with other family member who had a medical scare. Everything's okay, but it just kind of set back my day. I'm rambling. Let me get to the point, which is my review, kind of, or just like I should say, not a review, more like my final thoughts on the Ennis, no, Impelled Down, Maiden. I'm getting them confused. I should go in order. Amazon Lily, Impelled Down, and Marineford. Yeah, because I just finished watching that. And wow. I didn't really know where I should break for those arcs, and they just kind of all bled together, and I was a very impatient person, and I just kept pressing forward, and I didn't really take the time to stop and, reflect upon them. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that honestly dropped and went on and became known. Sorry, I'm looking off to the side. Kind of wish I had a list. I started making one a while ago, but I misplaced it, and then I didn't make another list. But let's see. Amazon Lily introduced us to Boa Hancock, and boy oh boy, is she a handful. I honestly do not think I would have liked her if she hadn't started liking Luffy. Like, liking Luffy is actually a redeeming quality for anybody. Like, if there's a person in the world of One Piece and they like do the worst things imaginable, but they like Luffy, that's kind of a redeeming quality. And I say that, and if I find out that Blackbeard likes Luffy, then you know what? Ugh, man, I really know where to stick it, huh? But let's just say Blackbeard is an exception to the rule because he is a horrible POS. And then we kind of are reintroduced to hockey again, but with her sisters having them, and it's like that is also I kind of forgot about a lot of it because when we go into Impel Down, we're already kind of dead set on a mission. But on Amazon Lily, that is where we kind of learn more about the slave trade and how there was a guy who helped a whole bunch of people escape from slavery, including Boa and her sisters. And she was able to reconnect with the old Baba lady who wasn't on Amazon Lily at the time. She had left. I guess she had a love virus, is what happened to her. And she was able to reconnect with Boa and bring her back to Amazon Lily with her sisters. And they concocted a story about the Gorgon curse and how like no one could see their backs to cover it. And so like I love how they ease this whole like tattoo and branding and slavery thing in. Like for the while you just see it on characters, mostly fishmen, and you just don't know what it is. And I just assumed it was like a gang tattoo, and it kind of ended up being a gang tattoo. I believe they explained it as it has two meanings. You either had it because you were a slave, or you got it because you joined the original crew that was created after they essentially got out of slavery. And yeah, and so it's like you don't really know who's who, which is very fascinating. But they modified theirs. That's one thing. They like changed it into like a different tattoo slightly. So Boa and her sisters have the original slavery tattoo. It's like I don't remember what it is exactly. I think it's a sun, or maybe that was the what the fishman turned it into. I'm not exactly sure, but um, yeah. Talk about getting to a level or depth on in an anime that like I never expected. Like when it's just like super cutesy pirates sailing the seas, want to get their treasure, like Monkey D. Luffy. And who would have thunk, like after seeing him like, punch a celestial dragon in the face, we would be learning more about that stuff. Oh gosh, I love that she essentially helps him into Impel Down. That was a great scenario. I would love to see play out in the live action somehow. I I honestly don't know how. Like the actress they cast for Boa would have to be hella tall. She's got to be like some gorgeous model from somewhere who's like 6'8" or something, so that Luffy can legitimately crawl up and cling on her back. Because I will not have it any other way. Um, yeah, so let's just ease into Impel Down here. Impel Down, we get so many beautiful cameos from returning faces, including Bonchan, our hero, man of the hour, who came in clutch again. Like, this guy, he is Luffy's number one fan. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that if Zoro's nearby because Zoro might take offense to that. But like Bonchan, time after time after time, and Impel Down is there to have Luffy's back, and vice versa. Like Luffy uses his conqueror haki on a bunch of wolves to defend Bonchan. Like these are moments that like stand with me from Impel Down. Like just their friendship, their bond. It's just like the fact that he stayed behind, but he did it strictly. Like he didn't tell Luffy. And he didn't because he knew Luffy would the way Luffy would react, and he didn't even want them to tell Luffy until the communication was shut off. And my God, the fact that was it Jinbei? Yeah, was it Jinbei or was it Eva that basically gave Luffy the news? But the fact I can't recall, but I love that they gave him the opportunity to basically say goodbye before the communication ended, and it's just like, oh my God, Bonchan, But we get other like champs in there too, like Mr. Three has a comeback and he's useful again. Well, mostly useful in the next part in the Marineford. So, but he's there, he's cool. He helps break out a bunch of people, so I guess that is kind of being useful. We get Crocodile again. The introduction to that who is Luffy's parent theory. Oh my gosh. Now that I know about that, I can't help but overanalyze all of what I've seen now and just be like, oh man, I can totally see that. But anyways, uh, we got that. We got Magellan, the guy that just like kept coming and annoying the crap out of me. And my God, he almost got Luffy, and he like basically forced Luffy to give up years of his life. Well, it wasn't forced. Luffy made that decision, but could Luffy really make any other decision when given that opportunity? That's the thing. It's like because that Luffy will do whatever to save the ones he loved, right? Including giving up part of his life. And so like, but hey, we also met Eva, and my God, I love that person. I'm not really sure about the genders. I want to Google it, but I don't want to accidentally spoil myself for anything online. So I suppose I think the last thing I came to as a decision for Eva was that it should depend on how you're introduced to them, right? So like when Luffy is introduced to Eva, everybody there is using male pronouns. Eva's rolling with it, so Luffy uses male pronouns. Therefore, I used male pronouns. But maybe, like Eva on the island likes to identify with female pronouns, and therefore everybody there who's already there to be female, right? Like they're all like, you got to be a girl at heart, right? They're likely to just use female pronouns when they're talking to Eva, regardless of whether Eva is in male or female form. And so talking about Eva in female form and introducing Eva to Sanji with female pronouns would obviously be the reason why Sanji was using female pronouns to talk about Eva. Because, like, who would he be to assume male pronouns when everybody else around is using female, right? But then again, I might be hyper analyzing this, and it could just be a subtitle kerfluffle because they changed a lot of stuff, including the word hentai. Like, the definition of that. Like, I'm so confused by why they translated that as geek. Although, I did bring it up with my roommate, and my roommate is a Japanese translator for, he used to be in the military, and, whoa, I don't know what happened there. Did my video get funky? Sorry, I was looking away, but it did a funky thing. Well, anyways, he was a translator a long time ago. He's really rusty now because he's been retired. But he said that hentai could mean strange before it meant strange before it was used as just a blanket term for pervert or even just like porno. And so maybe they are going off of the old literal word hentai and mean strange, but the person translating it also thinks that geeks are strange. Therefore, they use the word geek. So that's me hyper analyzing that. Oh man. We obviously have Luffy get through all the way to the basement. He meets up with Jinbei. I'm so glad Jinbei is there. Jinbei is the best thing ever. Honestly, I never knew when I heard his name drop in season 1 live action of One Piece that he would be such an awesome goat. Like, seriously. I mean, like, he is the goat, even though he is a fish man, obviously. But I mean, like, and he's so humble, and my god, he tried to sacrifice himself so many times. And I was just like, dude, that guy, somebody needs to be there to stop him, because that is his issues. Obviously, it's just like his honor, and like the fact that he's just like willing to throw himself on a grenade for anybody because he feels like he is like disgraced in some way. And he let, well, I'm getting ahead of myself there, but he just becomes an awesome dude, okay? And so we meet up with him, but we learn that we literally missed Ace by like minutes. And my god, like that Luffy's journey through Impel Down is so amazing. And it's frustrating that like he literally got to where no one believed he could get, to the level in Impel Down that his brother was at, to his brother's literal cell. If he had just been minutes earlier, he actually would have literally done exactly what he set out to do. And it just like, it was so frustrating. It was like kind of like a rug pull and just like a punch to the gut at the same time, like make you fall over on your knees, of just like how close Luffy came. And he gave up so much to get to that point. And it's just like this hopeless feeling. But, you know, at the same time, it's like obviously Luffy's not going to give up. And so, you know, that transitions us with Buggy. Oh, yeah, Buggy was there. I didn't really bring up Buggy, but my God, Buggy. I should probably pause on moving forward and just say, Buggy, my God, that guy. I never expected much from that guy when he was introduced in the anime, and I never liked him, and I still don't like him. Like, I legit can't stand him, but I appreciate him as a character. I should say that. I don't think he's a bad character. I should also say that. I just don't like his character. Like he rubs me the wrong way, and I think that's totally okay. Like there's just different personality types out there, and his personality type is not mine. Uh, Granted, I love him in the live action, but he's played completely differently, and he's also like a real kind of hot. And I'm honestly super shallow in some areas, and I will shamelessly admit when I watch a television show just for the actor. There was a lot of times I did that in my time. That being said, Buggy was awesome, and we all joined forces at the end. Oh God, Eva, from in the Revolutionary Army. That whole introduction, essentially, of like having a hidden group of escapees inside Impel Down, led by one of the generals. I think he is of the Revolutionary Army, and obviously, Luffy drops that he is the son of Dragon, which was just beautiful, and that obviously got Eva to team up with us, because you can't just leave your boss's kid alone trying to raid a marine base to rescue his brother, who in your mind logically must also be the other son of your boss, right? Like that whole lineage thing, and family thing, I like how it was used in this, like the confusion behind it, the assumptions made about it. It's like, well, he said he's his brother, but honestly, like, are you talking like literal brother, are you talking like blood brother, are you talking like what, like, what? So it made sense, because Luffy is completely honest and open, and like he wears his heart on his sleeve. So when he says that he like Ace is his brother, who would Eva be to pause? Can you tell me whether he's also your father's son before I decide to help? Like, no, Eva wouldn't do that. So yeah, we got all of our folks together, and we essentially go straight into the next arc, which is Marineford. And I gotta say, these two arcs were a great way to kind of like almost forget about the pain of having all of our Nakama torn away from us, because literally, like, the pacing is so fast. It just kept me involved, and I was just there to see the next thing, get to Ace. I was not thinking like, get to your friends, get to your Nakama. So in this one, it's just like Luffy is surrounded by complete strangers, all brought together with happenstance. And then we essentially team up with Whitebeard's folks, who up until that point it's just like been a name. We see him once or twice. He's this giant dude, and nothing about him. And literally by the end of that arc, I was like so heartbroken by him passing, because it's just like Oda did such a great job of building up this character, and making you know who he is and what he is about, and just by like the people who he surrounds himself with, and the way that they're like dedicated to him, and the flashbacks that they gave. Like, I was like, oh man, like seriously, this is why Oda is like one of my like top 3, I would say, favorite authors of all time. And I mean, and I'm counting him as an author, even though this is a manga in essence, because like he is beyond even a like. I mean, like, he writes, he draws, he creates worlds, he designs all these like amazing things. Like his brain is like a wonderland. I would love to just have a glimpse of one time. And yeah, so Marineford is intense, and we see Luffy like literally like fall down like at his wit's end, and Eva have to give him another adrenaline shot. And even then, he's like, he pushes, and he does conquer hockey again, and it's all to get to Ace. And Ace, meanwhile, is having his own trip about like self-worth, and he literally at the point of near death, seeing all these people that he loves, and like fight for him, like he realizes that he is wanted and that he actually wants to be alive and to be there. And it's literally it's like a Robin moment, where it's just like he he's happy and wants to live, and which is just like, so heartbreaking considering what happens to him, but I think it was really important that he have that realization and have Garp overhear it, because Garp, for all the hell you could give him for standing for the Marines and, not choosing his family, like obviously he still cared for them, and he would be heartbroken. And so knowing that Ace essentially died happy, um, he needed that, and I'm glad he got that. And he retired afterwards too. So that's also like, I was not expecting that, but like literally, like there was a snapping point where he almost went for a Kainu, and Sengoku had to face plant him in the ground, and that was surprising to me because I think literally up until that point he had faith that Luffy would get Ace out. Like, I've put thought into this. And I think that Garp literally was betting on his grandsons getting out together. And he saw Akainu's move as a cheap shot, and it snapped him. I think that's what it was. But I won't give Garp hell for not doing anything else to help prevent it beforehand, because uh, Luffy is all about following your dream and following your, like, being you, and like being true and faithful to you. And like if Garp told Luffy to give up on his dream of being a pirate, or get finding the One Piece, for him, like be like, you're well, obviously he's asked him to do it countless times. It's his grandpa. Luffy says no, because that's not what who Luffy is not what Luffy wants to do. And so Garp is a Marine to his core, and not and going against that is goes against who he is. And so he fought so hard to make sure he never had to have that Marine thing come in the way and, force him to act against his family. And he was like, don't be pirates, don't do that. You have to be a good Marine, and he fought to prevent that from happening, but it still happened anyway, and so it was really rough. And my God, of course, we almost get away, and then Ace, of course, gets antagonized and taunted back. And I'm just glad that he had a moment where he got to tell Whitebeard that he was proud to be his son, because like literally everybody got closure despite the horribleness of like the event and just like how awful it was. Like Whitebeard got closure, Garp kind of got closure, Luffy, no, okay, I'm not gonna say Luffy got closure. My God, that kid got a lot of issues afterwards. But I mean, like, a lot of people got some closure, which is good. But yeah, I'm not okay with the way that it happened, because it's like literally Luffy has been a little ray of sunshine like the entire anime. He is like the happy, the hopeful, the aspiring captain, the one that you look to, the one who in essence is there for you in your worst, moment, and he's there to support you, and he always succeeds. And he literally witnesses his brother die. Well, his brother dies in his arms, in essence. And it's like, now, of course, knowing about Sabo and in Luffy's childhood, following that, it's just like it hurts even more, because in essence, like, Ace literally was like Luffy's last like heart, like brother, you know, like he has Garp, but Garp isn't close, you know. Garp wasn't there for him every night, you know, wasn't there watching his back, you know, wasn't there like, you know, daydreaming with him and like, you know, getting alligators and giving him the support he needed, you know, and being his friend. Like Luffy, like he said as a child, you know, when he first met Ace and after like he basically got beat the crap out of because he wouldn't give up Ace's money. It's like it's better to be hurt than to be alone. Cause like he didn't want to give up anything because he didn't want to be alone, and he thought that if he did, Ace would never be his friend. And so it's just like he values that connection so much that, you know, and he had the same, he forged the same connection with Sabo, and so Sabo was ripped from him, and like, and it's such a traumatic thing for a child who's so young, you know, and then he had essentially had to build up a stronger connection with Ace without Sabo there. Like they basically had a struggle to, you know, reconnect afterwards. There was a near death experience where young Luffy almost gets off by that big bear, and Ace has a sobering moment where he was still trying to be stubborn, and he realized how close he came to losing his last brother. And so like obviously after that they were like, you know, like that, right? And so to have Ace taken from Luffy in his arms after everything Luffy did, it's just like, oh man, they broke our boy. Like they broke him. Like broke him. They grabbed, like Oda grabbed him off the table and slapped, like just smashed him on the ground, and just, oh man, that was rough, you know. I'm glad that basically at that point Whitebeard had told everybody to back him, and then Marco backed that up even more and he was like, don't let Luffy die, he's got to live now for Ace. And so everybody backed Jinbei. They, you know, made their real awful attempt at an escape. Oh gosh, that was like literally that entire arc. Like just remembering it is like giving me anxiety. Like it's just like everything was amping up, and then even like you just, they literally gave us like a quarter of an episode of happy feelings when Luffy originally breaks Ace out of his shackle, and like, you know, Ace is using his power and Luffy's smiling, and Ace compliments him and tells him that he's gotten so strong, and it's just like, and then it's just like they just brought it back down, and then just left us in just such a dismal, depressing moment. And then to top it all off, we got Blackbeard coming in and doing something mysterious, taking Whitebeard's power and just wrecking whatever house was left that Whitebeard left. Yeah, although surprisingly, we learned after the fact when Luffy went back there to send his message that they've been repairing the place. So I mean, I thought they really wrecked the house, but apparently no, they're still, the Marines are still stubborn enough to stick around. So yeah, so that being said, Law came in clutch. I was not expecting to see him again. Honestly, I was just like, I thought that was it for at least a long while. But he came in clutch. He didn't have a reason for coming to save Luffy, but obviously he's probably like maybe doing it so he can have a favor to call in for later, because Luffy is a genuine like dude. Like if you do something for him, he will totally pay you back. So I think that's what Law was probably doing, and also at the same time sussing him out, like, because Law, we've now seen him from uh what was it, Sabody, uh all the way up to now, like every time he's been like assessing and analyzing and watching carefully, and I think he is a strategic pirate out of all of the ones that they've introduced. Even though they've got like a gangster guy, Capone, who seems to be like kind of like planning kind of guy. I really feel like Law is the long game kind of guy. So he's not even planning on going to the New World, the second half of the Grand Line yet. A bunch of other people just rushed there, including Kid and Killer and their crew, and Bonnie, who unfortunately got captured by Blackbeard, who then ditched her, and she got picked up by the Marines. I was really disappointed about that because I think she's interesting. I think she's kind of cute, but I guess that's it. Like literally, now that I think about it, I'm kind of disappointed. I think she's the only girl New World, like New Agey, what do they call them? The the notorious something. The basically it's a group of new pirates. Like Luffy's one of them, and it's like Law and Capone and the Drake Hawkins guy, and I'm trying. Did I say Kid already? I don't know. I don't remember all their names, but yeah. So I'm disappointed about that. Yeah, so we escape and we go back to Amazon Lily, kinda, and we negotiate so that we can stay on the island with in a cove with Law and heal Luffy there. And Luffy has an emotional like episode, like just snap, and he wrecks the like all the forest. He rips it up. He throws rocks around, rocks, boulders, and Jinbei is there to tough love him and tell him to focus on what he still has rather than what he has lost. And it's just like we like literally that again is like I keep saying like my heart was broken, but literally every time I start piecing it back together, they smash it again, and it's just like Luffy counting out his Nakama on his hand, and like how much like he wants them, and yet he still ends up deciding when Rayleigh comes back and offers to train him that he will hold off on going to see his Nakama and train. And he says it's because he doesn't want his Nakama to go through what they did before. And it's like he's still doing it for other people. Like if you let Luffy be selfish, he would have wanted to go and see them because he loves them and he's heartbroken and he needs them. But he's being a captain. And again, it's like that's the future king of the pirates right there. The fact that he would make that decision and stay with Rayleigh on an island that's nearby. Amazon Lily, I think, is how I understand it. So I think it's still inside the Calm Belt. I don't recall all of the different locations of like on the planet of where people are. I know like in the snow, I think is generally north. So I think Robin and Frankie are in northern places. We've got Frankie, who blew off his face by mistake, who has decided to spend the next 2 years living as a hermit in a cave. Well, no, in an underground laboratory that was hidden, that was Vegapunk's. And then Robin is going to meet up with Dragon, which would be very interesting. And we got Nami, who's got some like I think she called them like sky grandpas or something, and Zoro, who like threw his pride to the ground and was like asked Mihawk to train him because he wants to be better for Luffy. We got Sanji, who's gonna learn some food, and we got Chopper, who is going to learn medicine, and Usopp, who's got to lose a lot of weight, I guess, and become the king of snipers, which I appreciate. Brooke, who has been captured and is playing music. I feel like his is the most like random out of all of them, and theirs were random, but they ended up making sense. Brooke, he's still like lost at sea essentially. Everybody else kind of has a purpose, and he's just waiting again. In essence, I feel so sorry for Brooke. Man, who else? Did I remember everybody in the crew? I didn't make a list, but in essence, I don't know what we're gonna see next because uh, I they've got training and they said to wait 2 years, and technically someone in the comments mentioned a time jump, so I feel like we might just be coming back in 2 years time, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm nervous as heck for sure. So I'm gonna end my review here. Let's just say I've been loving it a lot, and I really do hope we get to go to Fishman Island because Jinbei said to meet up with him in 2 years, and we've been wanting to go there for a while. So yeah, hopefully that's our next location. But honestly, I just want to. Well, no, first we need to meet up with our crew and get our ship back. Who Duval is watching it. And him and Rayleigh's lady friend are all watching it. So yeah, we got to do that first, then Fishman Island. So I hope y'all come back and see the next episode. It should hopefully be uploaded in the day after this one is uploaded. Until then, I bid y'all adieu.